the morning, fire on the stove, love in a pie, that's the life we know. From the fields to the table, every bite it shows. Primarily me, the taste of home. Primarily me, the taste of home. Primarily me, the taste of home. Mama in the kitchen, we never eat alone. Primarily me, the taste of home.
Primarily Meal, pure, proudly Zambian, the taste of home.
Hi Sisi, can I borrow your phone?
Borrow? Can't you see I'm using it? I'm verifying my voter registration details.
Verifying? How?
Through the USSD code. You simply dial *214# to verify your details on the register of voters before voting day.
What about me on a wheelchair? Do I still have a chance?
Yes, uncle. You still have a chance. You must confirm that your details are correct.
To all Zambians who registered to vote in the 2026 general election, verify your details at any polling station. Take a moment to verify and confirm your details in the Register of Voters. The online inspection of the Register of Voters is on from the 22nd of February to the 8th of March 2026. It's easier, quicker, and more convenient. Simply visit the ECZ website or dial *214#. You can also download the ECZ mobile app from Google Play Store. All persons inspecting the register must carry a green national registration card (NRC) for registered voters and a sworn affidavit for the removal of deceased voters. It is your right. It is your vote. Your vote counts. This message is brought to you by the Electoral Commission of Zambia.
Before 2022, millions of Zambian children stayed home, not because they didn't want to learn, but because school was unaffordable for many families. Today, things are much better. No more tuition fees, no more PTA fees, and no more examination fees. More than 2.5 million children are back in class across the country, from villages to towns, from the cities to the districts and provinces. Schools are feeding our children and classrooms are full again. And with the Enhanced Constituency Development Fund, communities around Zambia are transforming education. More classrooms are being built, more desks are being made, more teachers are being hired. Because Bali cares. He has delivered this for all children across Zambia. Because free education is not just a policy, it is a promise to every Zambian child, a promise that poverty will not decide their future. A promise delivered.
Mulenga, are you ready for the group presentation?
I am.
Hey guys!
You even missed the lecture.
Yeah, but the voters card verification dates are out.
So what's going to
I
happen?
passed through the polling station to check my details.
Me I'll just vote on election day. You get?
Your vote is your right, and verification is key to the voting process.
The inspection of the Register of Voters is on. The Electoral Commission of Zambia (ECZ) is conducting a nationwide physical inspection of the Provisional Register of Voters for the 2026 general election. If you registered during the mass or continuous registration of voters, this is your chance to check if your name is on the Register of Voters and that all your details are correct. Confirm your polling station. You can replace lost, defaced or damaged voters' cards, or even transfer to a convenient polling station of your choice. All persons inspecting the register must carry a green national registration card (NRC) and a voter's card for registered voters and a sworn affidavit for the removal of deceased voters. Don't wait. The exercise runs from the 2nd to the 8th of March 2026 at all polling stations nationwide from 8 to 17 hours. The inspection of the Register of Voters will also be conducted electronically throughout the inspection period via the ECZ website or the ECZ USSD code *214# on any mobile phone. You can also download the ECZ mobile app from Google Play Store. It's my vote, my right, my choice. This message is brought to you by the Electoral Commission of Zambia.
What do we stand for? We stand for possibility, for the belief that every tomorrow begins with a choice made today. We stand for growth, for curiosity that pushes boundaries, for knowledge that prepares you not just to adapt, but to lead. We stand for community, for minds that don't just think, but connect, for hands that don't just build, but uplift. We stand for experiences that shape you, for friendships that anchor you, for courage that carries you beyond this place. Here you become more than a student. You become a maker of solutions, a believer in dreams, a contributor to something greater than yourself. This is where purpose meets possibility. This is where futures are built. Chas Brook Bassar University, where you stand for what matters.
The Electoral Commission of Zambia wishes to inform all stakeholders and the general public that the physical inspection of the Provisional Register of Voters will be conducted from Monday the 2nd to Sunday the 8th of March 2026 at all polling stations across the country. During this period, all registered voters are required to inspect and verify their personal details on the Register of Voters, including names, NRC numbers, and polling station information. Please note, there will be no new registration of voters during the inspection period. The inspection of the Register of Voters will also be conducted electronically throughout the inspection period via the ECZ website or the ECZ USSD code *214# on any mobile phone. You can also download the ECZ mobile app from Google Play Store. Voters who need to correct or update their details will be referred to the nearest physical registration center with the registration kit. It is your right. It is your vote. Your vote counts. This message is brought to you by the Electoral Commission of Zambia.
Good morning, Zambia, and thank you so much for joining us on a windy Wednesday like this one on the Sunrise Breakfast Show. It is right here on PTV2 Zambia, and of course you're watching us also on Topstar, that is on channel 110, on our YouTube channel, as well as of course on Facebook, that is PTV2 Zambia. And of course wherever you are watching us from, it might be you're still at home, you are on the move, or you are at the office already for those early beds. Definitely you can tune in to PTV2 for that exciting Sunrise Breakfast Show that brings to you, the full English breakfast. And we definitely hope that at the end of this show, the breakfast would definitely be served. My name is Rhoda Mlenga, and of course, I'm with my co-host, Dominic. Good morning.
Good morning, Rhoda, and good morning, viewers across the country and across the globe. There's something refreshing about Wednesday, you know.
Absolutely.
It's just a moment when the week pauses and we reflect and we see where we're coming from and where we're going. It's actually on the middle of the week. So today being a Wednesday, I'm delighted, I'm happy, and looks like I'll have a very reflective day. And looking at the show today, the breakfast show, we're gonna have a jam-packed show, of course, like always. And just want to tell the viewers that they can also join in, and you can also comment, because we are because you are. So if you don't comment, the show will not be as delightful as we want it to be. Share experience and let us get interactive. Yeah,
absolutely. So we will be unpacking the stories, the issues, and of course the conversations shaping our nation. Honesty, boldness, and of course responsibility. We will be, highlighting that and so much more. And of course, just an overview of how today's program looks like. Very excited. Today's show is, of course, packed and intentionally so. We will begin to look at the top stories making headlines across the country, setting the tone for the conversations that truly matter, that obviously we'll be talking about for the rest of the day with our peers, with our family, social media friends, and so much more. And later in the program, PMC will sit down with Matthias Musumali following remarks he made during a podcast that sparked national debate after portraying students as sexual objects. This is a story that has really gotten like different opinions, and it was trending at that particular time when he made that statement, and people are still talking about it because we are Zambians and we love to call out people that make certain remarks. So we'll also leave it to you to decide after you watch that interview, the statement that he made just after that interview went viral, and some of the things that he went through. He did speak about a lot of things like this is how people commit suicide because people have been calling him on his number. God knows where they are getting his number from, insulting him and things like that. But also we'll talk about that and how that has really affected him, because that guy or that young man,
the consequences.
He is an actor and a social media person. We'll also be joined by Dennis Mlenga, a finance and economic commentator, who will help us unpack the possible impact of the ongoing US-Israel-Iran tensions on Zambia's economy.
Indeed, Rhoda, and also beyond that, we'll be tackling stories that have been trending and, of course, troubling many Zambians. Of course, one of them involved a 23-year-old woman who allegedly was manhandled by 2 Chinese employers at Zamfresh and here in Lusaka along Mungwe Road. This raises serious questions, Do our labor laws adequately protect workers, or are enforcement mechanisms strong enough, and this is where you and I now come in. This is where you also come in, and you can share experience and also comments. You can send your message to the number 0972 036 306. Send your message to the number 0972 036 306, or you can actually just throw a text on or comment on Facebook, which is PTV2 Zambia, or even on our YouTube page, which is also PTV2 Zambia, because your voice matters, because accountability begins when citizens actually speak.
Absolutely, Dominic. And for our sports lovers, you're not left out, because Jeremiah Chalwe, the man of the sports, will be in the studio with us to just share the stories that are making headlines both on and off the speech. So fasten your seatbelts, because the Sunrise Breakfast Show definitely is where issues are unpacked, voices are amplified, and of course accountability begins with conversations. So do stay with us. We are just getting started. But of course, as we kickstart our show, it's very important to know how the weather looks like for the rest of the day. Let's have a look at our weather. Seems like it's going to be a rainy day for some parts of the country. And of course, looking at how the weather looks like in Lusaka, it started off with a bit of drizzles here and there, but we look forward to seeing what the rest of the day has for us. But moving on, we will also have a look at our money markets and see how the kwacha is performing today.
Okay, these are the money markets for today. The US dollar is buying at 18 kwacha 64 ngwe and selling at 19 kwacha 01 ngwe. And the euro is buying at 21 kwacha 99 ngwe and selling
at 22 kwacha 43 ngwe. And the Great British Pound, of course, is buying at 25 kwacha 07 ngwe and selling at 25 kwacha 75 ngwe. The Rand, of course, is buying at 1 kwacha 1.7 ngwe, or 1 kwacha 17 ngwe, and buying at and selling, sorry, the Rand is buying at 1 kwacha 17 ngwe and selling at 1 kwacha 19 ngwe. Remember, these are the rates and they vary from bank to bank.
All right, so that is what is in our money markets today. But of course, thank you so much, Dominic, for that. And of course, we'll be having a look at what's happening in our news today. Some interesting stories that we have been seeing so far in the news. And one particular story that really caught our attention, that has been trending throughout from the beginning of this week, is the story of the employee at Zamcash. And of course, why did I say Zamcash?
You borrow too much money.
No, it's because of the Zam. So now I'm confused. It's
you should have said Zambeef, you know. There's a lot of Zam milk.
But anyways, it's because of the money markets, and it's like money is on our mind. Ooh.
Oh yeah.
But anyways, that is the story that has been trending, and as Dominic said earlier on, there's a lot of questions from the public in terms of what the labor laws say, and I think we'll be getting into details, you know, what we know and what the labor laws say about, you know, such a situation. If an employee is found in such a situation, what does the company need to do? What is that particular individual supposed to do in that particular situation? But it's also important that we also highlight the fact that social media has really played a vital role in putting some of these issues to light, especially, you know, what's happening in the dark. Sometimes people would say, why filming, you know, why bring out the camera? But there's a lot that has been going on behind the scenes in some of these workplaces, and I think we need to thank social media for that particular highlight in terms of just bringing things to light. But on a sad note, PTV2 Zambia Northern Province reporter Matthias Chewe has died after a prolonged battle with a brain tumor. Now, Chewe previously underwent surgery for the condition, after which he experienced medical complications. He was stationed at the Kasama Bureau until his untimely death in the early hours of yesterday, the 3rd of March 2026, around 01 hours. In a statement, PTV2 Zambia says Chewe's professionalism, bravery and unwavering commitment to justice left a lasting impact on the newsroom and the communities he faithfully served. And of course, as part of his remembrance, PTV2 reflects on one of the impactful stories that he covered, in which motorbike riders in Pika district raised concern over rising attacks during hired trips to the Kanyelele gold mine, highlighting his dedication to amplifying community voices. Let's have a look.
The discovery of gold in Kanyelele area of Chikwanda and Mkwikire chiefdoms in Mpika district has sparked a surge of activity, attracting both local and international fortune seekers. This newfound rush has created economic opportunities, particularly for motorbike riders transporting people to and from the mining site. However, the growing influx of illegal miners has also brought rising concerns over safety. Motorbike riders, who are now in high demand, have become prime targets for attacks.
We are facing a lot of challenges as motorcycle riders. The first challenge is we are being killed with impunity. A customer would come like they want to take them somewhere, but on the way they kill you, they get the motorcycle, they run away, and very few people have been arrested. And those that have been arrested, we have no clue. We don't know if they have been sentenced to anything. We don't know anyway. So we are asking the relevant authorities to look into that, find a solution, see how they can protect us.
Mishek Simuyemba and Lawrence Mutale, both local motorbike riders, have voiced their fears, citing frequent attacks when hired to ferry passengers to the gold mining zones.
But if you have a pisana, if you have a local coffee, then now have my fuel that was Namushba. Nimani, Takos have to wake a bamu. What do you have Mokta, Kusaka, Kasempa, Lisa, Ukwasha, for Queen, always Ukwasha, Pops and Apsana.
And Papa, Sevenova, Mikaelo, Tatuishi, Bidanga, Bamteza, Mamara Mufisa, Kwebati, Chpenga, Tuala, Onanga, registered police, Varam Kuikata. So having Latino Sokoranga, Puscati, Biaquan, Shokapokateza, Shani, no problems to Guatar.
Mishek further adds his concerns, highlighting the lack of adequate security measures to protect both riders and miners operating in the area.
Because sometimes sometimes 11 years, 12 years to ever
Matthias Chewe, Prime TV News, Mpika.
Of course, he is remembered for his remarkable work, especially with Prime TV2, very, very outstanding. And of course, in the studio this morning, I am joined by Mr. Michael Himosa Jr. just to highlight a few things. And of course, just to, give us his memories with our renowned journalist. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Rhoda?
I'm good, thank you. How's the morning for you?
The morning is okay. We can't complain. It was raining in the morning, and you know what it means. We were disturbed early in the morning, but with the funeral that we have as Prime TV, it's really sad. And anyway, everything has been disturbed, but we're trying.
Yeah.
Sure.
Now, maybe take us through some of the memories that you have of Matthias Chewe. Maybe also the first time that you had an encounter with him, and how was it working with this man?
Well, Mr. Chewe joined Prime TV, I think, not so long ago. I think immediately after the 2021 general elections. He was a correspondent. He started corresponding with Prime TV when he was in Mumbwa. So he was doing stories there. Then when our reporter from Kasama, Colombo Tamanangombe, moved out of the bureau, we decided to take him to Kasama, where he manned Kasama from that time to the time when he died. He was a brave journalist, and also he was much into gender-based violence stories, because whenever he does a story on gender-based violence, you could tell, even from the way he could narrate, the way he could write an intro, it was very powerful. And, he had that passion to defend people or victims of gender-based violence. So it's really a loss to us, because he'll be irreplaceable, because he was just unique in his own way. Yeah, even I'm sure you heard like the report that aired just some few minutes ago. Even his English, the way he was coming out, the way he was pronouncing the words, there will be no other Matthias Chewe. It will be only him.
Yeah.
Sure.
What impact will this have on Prime TV2, especially that, he was one of the reporters that obviously we could count on in terms of coming up with such remarkable stories?
Yeah. So like I mentioned earlier, there will only be one Matthias Chewe. There will be no other reporter like him. So it will really be a big gap to fill. And he had his own style. So it will really be difficult for us to fill the gap. But otherwise, we mourn with the family, we mourn with the entire media fraternity, And we will announce the burial arrangements later because the funeral is in Mumbwa, and we're trying to make efforts to ensure that we can travel there and just be with the family and give them support.
Absolutely. Mr. Himusa, what would be your message to the family, the people that followed him, his friends in this sad moment?
Well, it's really difficult, Rhoda, to actually, give remarks when it comes to death, because I don't know how I can put it, but it's really difficult. But maybe the words of encouragement to the family and friends and the people in the media fraternity and even those that followed him, it's let's be strong during this difficult time. And we know it's a loss, but heaven has gained. And let's just, because I know he inspired a lot of people through his reports. And let's support the family as well, because he has left behind, a family. And support is really needed, because there are actually a lot of things that usually happens during the funeral, and they need our support. But otherwise, we commiserate with the family, and he will always remain in our hearts.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for that. I know, like you said, it's not easy in a time like this to give remarks or, to send a message, because obviously you're still trying to process everything and all. But obviously we're with the family in these trying times. May his soul continue to rest in peace. We'll definitely remember him for his remarkable work that he put out there. The reports definitely were different, and some were heartwarming, some were very, very captivating, and definitely this is a huge loss, not only to Prime TV2 Zambia, but to all the journalists in Zambia, to the media at large. Will definitely remember him, and may his soul rest in peace. All right, so now moving on, police in Kawe district have rescued a 15-year-old girl who was allegedly forced to spend nights in a toilet after her mother accused her of stealing 100 kwacha. The victim, from Tulena at a named school, told PTV2 News that she had endured hunger and cold conditions for the past 2 weeks. And Central Province reporter Joseph Siambihi visited the girl following a tip-off from concerned residents and found her clothes, school uniform and books placed behind the toilet. Meanwhile, the Zambia Police Service have taken the girl to a place of safety while her mother has been counseled. We have the details.
She shed tears while explaining to Prime Television News how her mother allegedly kicked her out of the house after a misunderstanding, leaving her with no choice but to spend nights in the toilet. The clothes of the former Tulena at Buacha Secondary School were also found outside.
So for bashiri bashap 700, for bashiri bwachori chero bashiri basanga po 600. Pa epuisha mpia achba perquisa. Na tawa ina sendere po mpia kai ne ono babudi mpia po babikana peshiba. Fono mba ina epusha bajiban tamu sendere po mpia badela nda tawa ina sendere ko awa ino fona pusha kupanga ndo fona shena ina ku bed na fwa. Pa beds pa yoma pepa ya ku plot. Fona shena shana mapepa ya kuplot so na isangine mu chipepa cha kuplot pa pen so na ipetikanga no petikanga fo bashire babwe na timpia na tuisanga fo bashire bambokulanda nuwo bo sendere mpia pa panganda size yo perere po panole njibira at pan panganda shire kufaya fume pandu kuchiranga kulasana knife nanguka kumena sando ngabuke pantu ngana olala munganda shilala free fume pandu panganda shikufwa kakonto kwa badadwo batamfi.
Some neighbors who have been observing what has been happening also narrated.
Umwana kashuwa kureba tetare sungo mwana oro in girl child. No banga bamu ikatama janki bengi this time abantu bala pitano kubama dish bakamusanga mtore tu mwana kashuyu. Umwana we bakamuchitarepu. So namba fighting tumwana fe ni 05 umwana aisa mkonkonsha. Iwe ule akuskuru inonshita. Hawe ni banti ndala pansi. Opo ndala nishi bamami bali ntamvya. shirala munganda ulala kuisa mu toilet nomba ngololo wisolo chero ule ku skulu ngamba uniforms ufala shani atao fiance fyaba mu kuzinki ko mbika ni fya kuchinja fiance.
The matter has been reported to Bwacha police station and the child picked for safety while the mother has been warned, cautioned and cancelled. In the meantime, the child has been taken to a safer home. Joseph Siambehi reporting, Prime TV News in Kabwe.
All right, now we do move on with some more news stories and of course some, quite interesting stories making headlines in our news. In another story, the wife of Solwezi-based clergy Elder Gordon Shimbami, who died in a road traffic accident last week, has also passed away after succumbing to injuries sustained in the same crash on the Copper Belt. Elder Shimbami died on the spot in the accident alongside another man they were escorting to Lusaka for a marriage engagement. His wife, Maureen Kiambunyolo, who had been receiving medical treatment following the accident, died on the 28th of February 2026. Speaking to PTV2 News upon the arrival of the body at Solwezi Mortuary, Reverend Perez Mashinkini, a cousin to the late Mrs. Shimbami, confirmed this development.
The wife of Solwezi-based clergy, Elder Gordon Shimbami, has died in a hospital following a fatal road traffic accident on the Copper Belt. Elder Shimbami died on the spot in the crash, together with a man they were escorting to Lusaka for a marriage engagement. His wife, Maureen Kiabunyolo, who has been receiving treatment, later succumbed to her injuries on 28 February 2026. Reverend Perez Mashikini confirmed that a burial will take place on 5th March 2026 in Solwezi district.
I want to confirm that we brought the body to Solwezi and the burial is going to take place on Thursday, 5th of March. Yeah, that's when we are going to have the burial. The funeral gathering is here in the community, Solwezi community compound.
The church has described the loss as devastating. 4 people were on board at the time of the accident. 2 died instantly, while the other 2 were taken to the hospital. Jackson Mwansa reporting for Prime Television News in Solwezi district of Northwestern Province.
Okay, going forward, a 63-year-old woman living with disabilities in Monze district of Southern Province has been abandoned by her children after being allegedly suspected of witchcraft. This is quite very sad. Ms. Mwetwa says she was forced to leave her home after being severely bitten by her last-born son and has been seeking shelter since under a grass thatched structure. She told PTV2 that her life has been extremely difficult since her children abandoned her. In response, a UPND mobilization team in the district has stepped in to construct a proper house for her. John has the details in this report.
In a world where the vulnerable are often neglected and forgotten, one woman's story has garnered attention and sparked an act of kindness and compassion. This is the story of Lady Mwetwa, a 63-year-old disabled woman, abandoned by her own children and living in unsafe conditions. Lady Mwetwa's story recently caught the attention of the public when a team of United Party for National Development members discovered her during a party mobilization in Monze district of Southern Province. They found her living in a dilapidated glass-thatched house, which posed serious health risks.
Mugati munganda ya muhobo onanda likulomba lukwa kuti oyu muntu asuke mundijeji bwisundisa ingaula pona bumi bubotu.
Elvis Mainza, a Monze-based UPND member who is also based in Lusaka, was deeply moved by Lady Mwetwa's living conditions. He and his team immediately stepped in and ordered that a new decent house be built for her.
And it's so touching to find that in this time and age we can have our mothers who are our parents living in such kind of an environment. So my pledge to both these beautiful wives of mine is to promise that I'm pledging that I'll build this house in a normal standard that I can afford. We are going to build it from the foundation up to the roof, and also the other house for my sweetheart here we will do the roofing. I promise to do your roofing tino skegi nganda. So ndamupromisa bamba tiguya kulindinywe tuwala kujita jiruli.
Mr. Mainza family believed that no one, especially an elderly disabled woman, should be living in such unsafe conditions. Upon hearing the news of a new house being built for her, Lady Mwetwa expressed her gratitude for the intervention. She shared that her life has been full of challenges since all her children had abandoned her after she was suspected of witchcraft. Lady Mwetwa explained that she was forced to leave her previous home after being severely beaten by her youngest son and had to seek shelter in the glass-thatched house. John Shikabe, Prime TV News in Monza District, Southern Province.
Well, of course, now we delve into the newspaper headlines. What are our newspapers, of course, in the country? What are their headlines? And let's see what, let's give a comment on what the headlines are. Let's look at the first one being, of course, the must. And the first headline that's there is, it's an interesting headline, Rhoda, by the way. Zambians are living in fear. Membe's arrest is evidence of shrinking democratic space. Then that goes, then there's an also headline that also going to, which is on the same part saying, I will not be silenced, vows Membe.
Okay.
Yeah, then we go to NGOCC wants justice for the woman assaulted at Zamfresh. If it was Rhoda reading this, you'd have said Zamkash. But you're looking at the first headline, Rhoda. Zambians are living in
Are we?
No. You know, I think we should attain political maturity as a country, and we should start having objective conversations and be honest with our people, because the start of such things brings frustration. And already we have got, we're living in a space where we lack to read, lack to research. We don't even have the knowledge of certain things because we don't read and research. Okay, so when a leader like Membe says something like this, says that HH should release the body, like, it doesn't make realistic sense. You know, when you follow the story properly, let's be very categorical and honest. This is a leader. You see how our leaders make blind statements and they want us to vote for them. It's not making sense. Oh, this is just politically induced, so that when you're arrested, you start talking about, I don't know, maybe because of late, maybe has not been very fashionable. He's not been making noise, or he's not been making headlines. So maybe he wants to make headlines. But, you know, at the expense of the Zambian intellect, it's not right. We all want to bury the head of state respectfully with full military honors, and here in Zambia, because when he was born, his umbilical cord was cut and buried in the soil. So should he. You know, we stand with the family, we stand with Amaiva Esther, but will not allow and accept politicians to mislead us, especially those who claim they want to stand for office. Let's be honest, let's be real. You know, if you are certain things, you know, let me even not comment too much. I think Zambians are watching and they know. I think we're tired of this. And going to the other one, NGOCC wants justice for woman assaulted at Zamfresh. What do you think about it, Rhoda?
Well, like every other person, I think we made our conclusion when that video was first posted on social media pages. And I think we did not really get the full picture of what was happening in that scenario. The only picture that, you know, me and a whole lot of us, like, you know, the Zambian people, everybody that saw the video, we got the picture that that woman was actually being assaulted for nothing, you know, because we were not given full details. But digging deeper, and from what the conversation brings out, I think, you know, somebody from the Labour office did go there and check what was happening. I do not want to say it, you know, they were not supposed to do that. You know, the Chinese employers were not supposed to do that in the first place. We were told the young lady was reiterating, you know, just to be kept in one place as they waited for police. And because the issue is around theft, it was just all right that she should have been kept in one place so that they wait for police. But maybe how they handled the situation was actually the problem. But looking at the circumstances surrounding this particular issue, I think, I don't know, I feel they should have handled the situation in a better way, like maybe locking the door or leaving that person, that young lady in that position until the police came. Because what was happening there, what if that young lady died in that circumstance while she was being held down? I think those are some of the things that people are actually worried about, and that is the concern that is coming. And I think after hearing the full story of Money being involved and her and the other colleague who fled the scene, I don't think he's been found right now, or maybe in some news updates we'll see where that story goes. But I think that is what people were worried about, how they handled the particular situation. And I'm also told, or from what we are seeing in the story, in this developing story, is that they did also not have like adequate papers in terms of operating, in terms of their license. So there are a lot of issues that did arise from that particular scene.
The biggest issue that we have seen and that we have been hearing, we've been hearing rumors, we have been hearing people talk behind closed doors, some even talk openly. There's an issue of the Chinese mistreating workers. Everywhere there's a Chinese company, we hear that people are being mistreated.
And no proper contract?
Yes. And the Labour office, those officers are Zambia. So first things first, let's dig the root of this issue. There have been issues and stories of these people mishandling workers, mishandling Zambians, calling them names, shouting at them, insulting them. And looking at the poverty levels, we have no choice, you know. So there is more to this than what we are seeing. Because in the first place, I believe this place has got a security guard. Security. What is the security officer for? You know? So even when they come and make those meetings, you know, they must be very categorical as they speak. Because at the end of the day, it is us. We are paying taxpayers' money.
Exactly.
You know? So for them to be in these offices, it's us paying them. That's why they're called civil servants. So two wrongs don't make a right. No.
Yeah.
So this issue must be dealt with the utmost adequacy and honesty, and it should be sorted out diligently, because we will not understand and we will not sit back. So in as much as there was a wrong that was made, we have heard that there were no proper papers.
Yeah.
Looking at even the work conditions of these people.
They went on to say, you know, workers are given salaries, like, you know, you're given cash. There's nothing like bank transactions in this day and time that we live in. You expect to get your salary in an envelope, like, oh, come and get your salary. There are banks, I mean, for security reasons, that's why we use banks. And there are no pay slips. So those are some of the issues that arose from that particular incident. No wonder I'm saying this situation has exposed a lot of things that, you know, workers are subjected to, not just that particular incident, but it was actually an eye-opener that maybe this is just not happening in that particular company, but in other companies as well that we have not heard of.
And it's not the first. And, you know, we did not have to come this far to actually get to such a development and to certain things get exposed. Because people have been talking. People talk, Rhoda. We've been hearing these things. Ever since I was in grade 9, I used to hear the Chinese mistreat people. From I think even grade 8, when Zoshita mistreat one. Now, it is a school, Namposa Prime TV, Njepe Vambo Kamba Vaso. No, they must be very serious about this. Because This is tax. We are paying them. Mwana akagula sweet. Na hivi mwana wanga Antonio akagula sweet. Alipira. Wafora wakuleba. So they should be serious with what they are doing. We don't want things to reach this extent and we start seeing them massaging the truth. No, they must investigate this issue and make sure that these foreigners have the adequate papers. These foreigners are treating us, our Zambians, rightly and doing the right thing. Or else we cannot or we will not attain economic development like this.
But we're so glad that the relevant authorities, came to the rescue in no time after that clip was posted or circulated on social media. But moving on, we check out the Daily Nation, and there's quite a number of interesting headlines. United opposition possible, Sinkamba. But also fears some members of the Council of Elders steering opposition unity may be infiltrators working to derail the good intention. So that is the headline on the Daily Nation. There's also another one interesting that says, "Be prodigal, return home, Makebi asks Mundubile." The prodigal son return home.
Yes.
Right, so he goes on to say, he says he has rejected the invitation by Mundubile to his Tonse Alliance because it is his view that it is an illegal political formation.
So, you see, the first, Daily Nation are good people. The People's Paper, truth, accuracy, and balance. So the first headline directly opposes the second headline. United opposition possible. Makebi has just showed us that it's not possible. So, the opposition is a very vital body and a very vital influence in the running of governance affairs. Because we cannot run a country without an opposition. An opposition is supposed to be objective. An opposition is supposed to be realistic. An opposition is supposed to understand how things are and give checks and balances and even guide the government of the day and correct the government of the day on the things they're doing wrong. And if they're doing anything right, let them applaud also. We should not have a partisan opposition. But with the opposition that we have today, it is rather, I can call it, I think it's dead. And one funny thing is that with the opposition we have today, our leaders are very divided. But the followers, the Zambians who are in the opposition themselves, are very united. And we have seen these things. We have seen these things at the past elections. We've seen these things happening in Chawama. We have seen these things happening in Kasama. And we are yet to see more of this. And this should also put the government of the day not at a laissez-faire point of view, because the greatest opposition is not Mundubile. The greatest opposition is not Makebi. The greatest opposition is not Wagive. No. The greatest opposition is the people. Because the people are stuck and united. When Gail Winda goes and makes a rally, the people go. Brian makes a rally, the people go. Makebi makes it, the people go. It shows us one thing. The fighting is on the top. The bottom is intact. So the ruling party should not be relaxed and think there's no opposition, because the leaders are not giving objective issues. They're not being objective. They're not being balanced. But the people on the ground are united. And we call upon the United Party for National Development to go down on the ground and listen to the people, because those are the voices, not Beba and alive, panga chongo hapa. No, we Zambians like entertainment. And for us, this is entertainment.
Exactly.
But the real issues are on the ground. Our mother in Karikiriki, whose saloon failed because of load shedding. Our brother kuja Pangombe, who does welding, whose business went down because of load shedding. All these issues that happened, those are the people they need to go to and listen to and see how best we can make adjustments and go forward. The opposition is still there, but the leadership, is dead.
All right, so we move on to Real Times, and there's a completely different headline, away from politics. Evil moms jailed for attempting to bribe an officer in exchange for their defiler husband's freedom. And we also have a headline that says Mazabuka OP officer shoots self. I think we have been hearing about a lot of stories, you know, our men in uniform shooting themselves. Is this a case of, you know, not handling mental health well? Is this a case of maybe, you know, depression, not opening up, going through things, keeping them to yourself, maybe pressure, pakisa pa life? You just resort to taking your own life.
Ana vintu vavuta che. Vintu vavuta dola ikugwa but vintu sivikugwa. Vintu vavuta che. You know, whereas you need to sustain your family, and others also need to sustain their lifestyle. They want to sustain their drinking, and others also have other relationships. You know, they want to sustain their girlfriends. You know, it's quite difficult. And others, not just girlfriends, others have got children outside wedlock, and their families don't know. So it's and whereas the economy is not helping. You know,
and another thing that is contributing to a lot of you know, depression, suicide cases that I think we don't really talk about a lot. Loans.
Oh, my loans. Oh, zamcash.
Someone is not able to handle that pressure. You know, you're looking at your pay slip every particular month. They are cutting off your loan. Now your loan yenda ikweda ma interest. So it's really hard to keep up with some of these realistic issues that people are going through, especially men tend to just bottle it up because, you know, you're told you're a man, you need to find solutions on your own. There's nowhere to go to. When alone you're 500 pin, where do you start from? You know, you have to feed your family. You have to sustain yourself. There's just a lot going on. So, you know, people are resorting to just taking their lives, which is quite sad. We need to start seeking for help. Let's move on and see what's in our news diggers.
Yeah. News diggers, with over 20 days of fuel stocks, says ERB, amid Middle East tension. Then we have another headline that goes on to say, of course, once for Membe faces additional cybercrime charge. Then the other one goes, watch what you post. Social media
can cause riots.
Can cause riots. You know, students in Israel are safe, says the ambassador. Mundubile-led Tonse settles for FDD for August pause. I think we can start with what HH has said, because we have quite touched most of the headlines in other newspapers corresponding. And which says, watch what you post. Social media posts can cause riots. And of course, there are a lot of riots that have been caused through posts, social media posts, you know. And the thing with leaders, I don't know, these people, I can say they are masquerading as leaders. I think it's for, I think this issue of, you know, when you open a political party, they give you funding. Others are using it as a way of life. So the more they try to, the more they are, you know, the more they seem to be treated wrongly, badly. Maybe that's how they're given money, because it's not making sense. There are many issues we need to talk about, you know. There are many issues that we Zambians talk about. The Socialist Party, what norms does it lay on? You know, what is socialism? That's what they're supposed to be teaching people. You know, talking about how the state's supposed to help the people, what they believe in, not Verachi type. And you know, the biggest issue, the problem that other leaders make is they want us to inherit their enemies. Just because Svanverana now Uyumuntu, Wafuna Nice, not Timvelane. It's not making sense. We cannot live on borrowed frustration, which is not a good thing. Let us watch what we say anywhere. You know, the tongue has got power, not just on social media, because the tongue has actually broken relationships. The tongue has broken houses. The tongue has killed people. The tongue and the pen are the same thing.
Exactly.
What you write and what you say is very strong. So let's watch, and let's have some decorum in how we do things and handle issues. Yeah.
Moving on to the Daily Mail, a very, very interesting headline that we have. Very big and, just there. Mpezeni Islam's Mundubile. There is nothing new that he is promising people.
You see, the only king has spoken. It's very interesting and very sad when traditional leaders come on board and give such statements, because for him to give a statement like that, it's not like he is going to be removed from office or he's trying to bribe anyone. He's speaking from a point of honesty and truth because he's on the throne, I mean. So let's take heed to such comments and let's learn and look at ourselves and reflect. The opposition function should be serious in what it does and should take up, because and the young people are very quiet and are very comfortable with what's going on. We've got the likes of the only general president, who's supposed to take up serious steps and make serious decisions, rallying behind this same unseriousness that we're having, these same games. It's not good. I think we must start to level up and be very intellect, and we should have better and things happening, going on. Let's look at the Times newspaper. What is it saying? Be positive about Zambia. HH. It's HH time, mwetwa. African presidents want to learn from Zambia's local content. There's a lot that we need to be positive about our country. And US-Iran clash, government stakeholders act to ensure safety of fuel supply. There's a statement that Donald Trump gave, and that made me very happy. And he said he will not rest, and if anybody does anything or kills an American, they will hunt them down without fear, without question. I like how he's come up to protect his own, and we should learn from him. And we should do everything and anything to protect our own, and everything and anything to protect our natural resources in our country. These foreign countries do everything and anything to protect their own country, the country's economy, the country's jobs, the country's natural resources. There are certain jobs, I hear, that you cannot you cannot attain or get if you're not a citizen in certain countries. These people are doing everything they can do to prevent anyone just from coming to destroy or just to get things on a silver platter, and we should do the same. Maybe we will not have issues of harassment. Maybe we will not have issues of foreigners coming to our country and mistreating our people, taking advantage of our young ladies because of poverty, high poverty levels. And we need to safeguard at all costs what we have and who we are as a country. I think this is what we've had today on our newspaper headlines. We would still want to hear from you. Of course, you can comment on social media on PTV2 Zambia. You can also comment on our YouTube channel, which is also PTV2 Zambia. Would like to hear from you. Of course, we are because you are, and if you do not comment, we will not be anywhere, and the breakfast show would not be jam-packed as it's supposed to be.
All right, so moving on, let's now check what happened today in history and a bit of some Did You Know teasers. And of course, when we return, we will be joined by PMC, who will be sitting down with Matthias Musumali following remarks that he made during a podcast that sparked national debate after portraying students as sexual objects. Let's go.
Someone has been trending, getting amazing feedback on. I don't know if I can say amazing feedback. No, that is away from that. But controversial on social media because of what has been happening on Facebook. People have been condemning his statement on what he said on one of the podcasts. Today on the show, we get to dive into the conversation. The last time I had an interview with you was on the red carpet.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you remember.
Oh, I remember. I think there was a movie premiere. Right?
Yeah, by Wycliffe.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yeah.
Mwamba. So people were saying the outfit that you had, you lied to them. That's how it started, right?
Exactly. That's how it started. But I've come to understand that people have got different preferences depending on what they can afford to buy and what looks nice on them. So for me, I think I do an extra mile because of who I believe I am and also the inspiration that I've read on the ground. So I don't just wake up and buy clothes as long I have to hide my body. No. I do an extra mile.
Let's try to throw it back from the conversation that I had with you.
Yes.
So the outfit that you are wearing right now, approximate how much?
I'm pretty sure I can see
the shoes.
The shoes.
The viewers can see.
Please, you have to pick this.
How much is that?
And this is not just a common shoe that you might find in Kamwala. This I think, it's not much, just $800.
Well, let's talk about kwacha. How much is that in kwacha?
Of course, $800. I think we're talking about 8,000.
You're saying this shoe is 8,000?
Yes.
And the trousers?
Wow, the trousers is not much. I wanted to look classic as usual, but the trousers is not much. I think it's just these ones they're going at $100, and the shirt, of course, is just $50. How good!
Matthias Musumali won. He's our today's guest on a special edition interview. You have been trending because of the statement that you made. People have given themselves like their different opinions.
Yeah.
And to my surprise, you also made it on the front page of a newspaper. Did you see that?
I saw it, and I don't know if I was. I don't know what statement I can give because I saw it, but I didn't like it.
You didn't like seeing yourself on the front page?
No, I didn't like it.
Why?
Because of the sentiment that they used against me. That statement of sexity, I didn't like it.
Okay.
Yes.
You made strong statements on the podcast. It's a reason why we are having this conversation. Sadly, that we can't play it on TV because this is not the podcast. This is TV. There are guidelines. Exactly. But I'm sure the viewers that are watching, or maybe later that are going to be watching, they're still going to be watching that interview that you made a statement about girls in colleges, their what, their sex, the stretch mark stuff. When you watch that clip again, even now, do you regret that you made that opinion?
Thank you so much for having me here. I've received quite a number of phone calls from radio stations, TV stations, wanting my audience here, but I've been turning it down. And my objection of coming here, it's because I've noticed that a lot have been misunderstood and a lot have been said, and I've seen quite the levels of hatred we have in Zambia. I have seen the levels of manipulation we have in Zambia. I've seen the levels of brothers or sisters not standing by their brother. I have seen quite the levels of pastors not standing for their own. I have also seen organizations that, for example, spearhead musicians or whatever, not really standing or just finding out what is really going on with their members. So Zambia, it's you're on your own. If you fuck up, oh my God, sorry. If you make a mistake, you err. I think one thing I've learned so far is that you are on your own. People, These people that we see smiling, laughing with us, eating with us are not our brothers. Strangers are the ones. Now, coming to your question.
Yeah.
My brother, I am a Christian. I am a father. I am a brother. I am an uncle. I am also a leader. Despite that, just to make mention, I've also done Bible study. Bible school. So there's so much knowledge and respect that I have for the society, for the women, for the young women, for the student, and for everybody, right? But there is a misunderstanding over that clip which has circulated on social media. Of course, the sentiment that was mentioned, or the statement that has really been picked, and you know that everyone is dancing on in the name of creating names, in the name of exposing the hatred they have for me. People have not really taken time to watch and understand what was being talked about. There is a full episode of the very same show. There is a full episode on YouTube, actually. For those that have got time, you can search for Podcast Yatu on YouTube. There is a full episode where I was strongly discouraging men to go for students. I am discouraging. There are other videos even there. Even on my page, on my account, on my Facebook account, on my TikTok, you will find I have been strongly encouraging people to work hard. I've been strongly encouraging men to stay away from girls, from students. Even students, have been encouraging students to stay away from sugar daddies. Because I have lived there, at some point, I was a student at Evelyn Horn. I stayed there for 3 years. I was in campus, right? And even the reference that I mentioned in the same clip, I mentioned to say I dated a student. Not that I'm dating students. I said...
So that statement was coming in line with you making a past tense?
Yes, exactly.
With your past experience?
With my past experience. So this is why I'm encouraging people to say, those that have been exposing their hate for me, you know, Zambia, the way they've been talking to me, my brother, if you are not strong enough, because for the past 4 good days, 4 to 5 days, I have received hate speech.
You wrote an apology on your Facebook. Correct me if I'm wrong. Again, there's other pages, other bloggers. You apologize. Again, I don't know if it's true. Again, you say you're not sorry.
So, from the time this thing has been going on, from the time it started circulating, I got disturbed at some point. And I remember I didn't want to do anything with the phone because each and every time I receive a call, and fun enough that my phone number is also on my page. So, people were now calling me directly to offload their insults on me.
And you are picking up?
Well, there are times where you feel, let me pick, because if I stay away, people will think otherwise. And people were calling me to insult me. People were calling me to say all sorts of nonsense. People were calling me to say a lot of things. So what I decided to stay away from my phone, right? Even after writing the apology, even after that apology I posted, still I continued receiving insults, disrespect, and so on and so forth. Even on the very apology post, if you can go back, or if I think it has been there, you can find that even that apology itself was discarded by people. People said, we do not want to hear any apology from this whatever they were
Did you
saying.
mean your first apology?
So, bro.
A yes or no before you explain?
I meant it.
You meant it?
I meant it.
Why say sorry, then delete your apology?
So now, this is where I'm coming to say, when that apology was sent, right, when it was posted, I still continued receiving insults and so on. If you can check today, the apology is there. So now what happened was, I decided to stay away from the phones because I didn't want to have anything to do with it. So I stayed away from the phone. I think it should be yesterday or so, I had time, yesterday evening, when I had time to go through to get my phones, that's when I noticed that there were other things that, went around and so on. Then I said, no. Even the statement I've posted today, I've said I still stand firmly to apologize to the masses if I have injured or the wrongs that I have done based on the sentiment that I made on Facebook, or on the podcast. And even right now, I strongly believe that I've learned a lesson. Yes, people could have misjudged or misunderstood the point that I was raising, but I have seen the wrongs in the very sentiment that I said. For one, there are sentiments that I mentioned which are natural on our mothers, are natural on the women, are natural on girls after a certain age or after birth or after what. There are certain things that change on their body, and this is not their will. It's not them that want to look like that. So I have noted that this was wrong. This statement I said was very wrong. I was not supposed to say such a statement.
There's also some of the people on public forum, they are calling on you getting to be arrested. Some they're saying this man should be arrested. There's no way he can say these things. I know, like, have you taken time to read what people are saying, where you just want to see what people are like now? They perceive you in a situation where just from a short few second clip, it has reached this far.
Well, for my health safety and for my well-being, it has been good for me to stay away from comments and to stay away from social media, because I think the pain that I have received so far is unbearable, and I don't want to continue going through that, because I live alone. I live with my young brothers, right, at home, and most of the time they leave in the morning and I'm left home alone. So anything broken happen. If you're not strong enough, this is where you find Muntu Amadum, because you failed to handle the pressure and the insult that is going on. So to protect myself from such thoughts, I've decided to stay away from social media and also to stay away from the comments, and this is why I'm here, so that we can settle the...
Let's try to settle it in this way. Getting back to your comment, to your thought on that podcast, you made the remarks sound like it was not just one girl. Maybe that's where people are coming from. Okay, try to put yourself in the public eye. Okay, try to perceive what you said. It's me. Okay, what you said, it's me. Now you are the public looking at it from a public point of view, and you watch that short clip. How would you have taken it? Don't put yourself in that shoe, but try to put it in like you're just seeing it on Facebook. Someone making such remarks.
Brother man, like I'm saying, there's no justification over the sentiment that was said there. This is why a point of regret, a point of remorse has to come in.
No, but try to perceive it in a way that you are not you, okay? You are someone that just comes across such a comment on a podcast. How would you perceive it?
I think since it was me, I don't know how I can say it.
So you're finding it hard to perceive it in another way.
It was me, and for me, after watching myself, and I realized, oh, no, these are damages that I've caused. I need to go back and be sober. So this is why I have rendered an apology, because I noticed that I have injured people because of maybe the sentiment I mentioned about the preference of the type of person that I can settle with. So I noticed that there are people who are not in line with what I mentioned, so they are offended. And for me, I have to lower down and seek for apology.
How about people that are agreeing with you? Okay, let's move on. There are people that are agreeing with your opinion. You took time to read. Someone saying you are right with your opinion. How about them?
Well, I think each and every person is entitled to his opinion. So if they feel I was right, that's their opinion. But for me, I have to pick what I saw to be not in right order. And seek guidance or seek apology from the masses. But for those who feel, oh, what he said is making sense, blah, blah, blah. But I think that's their own opinion. They have got the right to say what or to feel, or maybe come up with what they think is right for them. So I cannot answer on their behalf.
My last conversation with you, I want you to be honest as well. When you were invited for that, you were the guest on that podcast. Is it? Or you're amongst the people that is hosting that podcast? Which one is which?
On that one, I'll not answer.
The reason why I'm asking you this is because there are shows that have synopsis. There are shows that will give us guidelines. There are shows that we know saying, when I go to this show, I know what I'm going for. The public don't understand. That's where my question is coming from.
Yeah.
Does that podcast have synopsis? Does that podcast have maybe something that we should know saying, oh, when I go to such a podcast, this is the type of conversation that I was told that we're going to talk about?
So, bro, I feel as a podcast, it's like in our Zambian culture, we say in Pansaka, right? Where people will come in to speak. There is some podcasts where women would sit and start talking about women issues. And there are also podcasts where men would just come and start talking and just expressing themselves. But again, in the process of expressing themselves, this is where we err, because you find that because of the cameras, because of maybe the people that are cheering, you start diverting away from the topic that is being talked about. So even for me, I noticed that, okay, along the conversation, I moved away from the line of what was being said there. Henceforth, for me to come and apologize to the masses, to the public, to say, maybe I got too excited, or maybe, after you've seen cameras and you feel your adrenaline, start running here and there, and then you feel I can just speak as I want. But I noticed that was wrong, and that's away from my personality as Matthias Msumali, as a leader, and also how I believe and how I look at the society. So that statement was quite wrong.
Does it change how you're going to be giving your opinions now?
Because
going forward?
So I have learned certain sentiments not to. I've learned how to respect people based on how they are. And I have learned, I think I've learned quite a lot of lessons from this. And going forward, it will be wise enough for me to know what to speak and what not to speak. But truth is truth. If something is wrong, or maybe if it sounds to be an insult, I think I will know how to articulate certain issues with wisdom and with understanding.
Okay.
Yeah.
People are watching. Like you said, man, I feel honored to have a conversation, because you're saying you've been turning down a lot of conversations.
Yes.
I was even surprised when I just saw a phone call saying, maybe we can do something, and I was very happy. Come through. Let's have a conversation. Exactly. Maybe in your remarks, I know Manzi Atika.
Exactly. Yeah.
Things have happened right now.
Yeah.
And the Zambians are watching this interview right now.
Yeah.
Anything that you like to talk about on this forum to the public? Okay. Others won't watch this interview. You're still going to be receiving insults.
Exactly. That's the whole
still going to
thing.
be happening.
Yeah.
Maybe in your remarks, if you have any appeal, any remarks to the viewers, anything that you like to say.
Exactly.
To them.
My appeal to the public, and more especially to Zambians, please, let's love one another. Regardless of how someone might err, that does not mean they are labeled to be. No. In as much as we correct, in as much as we sit down people, in as much as we want to speak, to point at them, their mistakes, let's love them. Let's speak with love. Let's speak with unity. We are all one. Regardless of the mistake that I made, you cannot just keep on insulting for 3, 4, 5 days. And you can see the insult that these people are speaking with passion. Of course, I understand as an actor, sometimes you might watch me in a movie where I was portraying a wrong character or blah, blah. But I'm a person as well. I've got feelings. I've got a life. So in as much as we correct our brothers and sisters, let us show them love. Because it's not good where tomorrow you hear that, oh, this has happened to Matthew, and then you start crying. Then what's that? After injuring me like that. So my appeal is, yes, I have erred. I have said things that have gone against the belief of women. But in as much as you correct me, show me love. And I'm sorry for the segment that I said concerning our beloved women. Women are good people, and the students also, they are good, because I've been a student. I understand that they are genuine students. So I'm really sorry, but let's love one another. I love you, and I thank God I'm healing.
I hope you don't get misunderstood by saying students are good people. But thank you very much. Thank you very much for finding time coming through on Prime TV2. People are going to watch this interview, and like I said, we'll leave it up to them.
Thank you.
Sure. Right there. So we're having a conversation with our today's guest right here, Matthias Musuvali, the first.
Yes.
And he was telling me, saying maybe the son.
My son is going to pick that to be the
second.
Exactly.
So go check him out on social media. Yeah. And
And also just to say, my last thing is, please watch Podcast Yatu on YouTube. Just search for it. You find it, and you find the wisdom that is coming from this man that you consider to be, But then they will appreciate that. Oh, we have some men in Zambia.
I'm yet to get a full detail regarding the podcast. I'm also making an appeal to you.
Yes.
Just to have a disclaimer to find out what the podcast is about, the synopsis as well. That is basically what I'm appealing to you and your team. Give us those details.
Exactly.
So maybe we might understand, or we might not understand. But we're so looking forward to just getting more information regarding the podcast Yatu, the way you have said it. And big ups to every team on your podcast. Looking forward to more conversations. Hope you don't get in trouble. And I hope you get the front page with good things.
and you know, the funny part is that as being an actor, it has also affected me, because I was having two deals with there were some commercial, two commercials that we were supposed to do. And those have been turned down to say, we cannot associate ourselves to this brand. So,
we sign out. We sign out. Next time we get to have a conversation right here on Prime TV 2.
Before 2022, millions of Zambian children stayed home, not because they didn't want to learn, but because school was unaffordable for many families. Today, things are much better. No more tuition fees, no more PTA fees, and no more examination fees. More than 2.5 million children are back in class across the country, from villages to towns, from the cities to the districts and provinces. Schools are feeding our children and classrooms are full again. And with the Enhanced Constituency Development Fund, communities around Zambia are transforming education. More classrooms are being built, more desks are being made, more teachers are being hired. Because Bali cares. He has delivered this for all children across Zambia. Because free education is not just a policy, it is a promise to every Zambian child, a promise that poverty will not decide their future. A promise delivered.
What do we stand for? We stand for possibility, for the belief that every tomorrow begins with a choice made today. We stand for growth, for curiosity that pushes boundaries, for knowledge that prepares you not just to adapt, but to lead. We stand for community, for minds that don't just think, but connect, for hands that don't just build, but uplift. We stand for experiences that shape you, for friendships that anchor you, for courage that carries you beyond this place. Here you become more than a student. You become a maker of solutions, a believer in dreams, a contributor to something greater than yourself. This is where purpose meets possibility. This is where futures are built. Charles Brook Bassar University, where you stand for what matters.
Thank you so much and welcome back as you're watching the Sunrise Breakfast Show. We're coming to you live on Topster, channel 110, and streaming live on a Facebook page that is PTV2 Zambia. Now, the National Assembly yesterday voted in support of the motion to review the law governing land acquisition by foreign nationals in Zambia. The motion was moved by Kamfisa PF Member of Parliament Christopher Kangombe and supported by Chama North PF MP. Let's take a look at this.
To begin by thanking the people of Kamfinsa constituency for the opportunity accorded to me to be their Member of Parliament, because through this privilege, Madam Speaker, I have today presented a very important motion that affects many people out there, Madam Speaker. And this issue is something that has been exercising the minds of many members of the public, Madam Speaker, people that I have interacted with, people that I have seen discussing this matter, views that I've heard from people, Madam Speaker, is that we urgently need to address this problem, Madam Speaker. Now, what problem am I raising today that requires us to have this conversation? Madam Speaker, it is the issue of access to land by foreign nationals in Zambia. The outcry out there, Madam Speaker, is that the pieces of land that are being allocated to foreign nationals, unfortunately, Madam Speaker, there's a public outcry that we need to review the current legal and administrative frameworks that govern how land administration is done for people that are called foreign nationals. Madam Speaker, the laws of Zambia currently allow for foreigners to own land, and there are various ways through which land can be acquired by foreign nationals. For instance, Madam Speaker, we are aware that at the Ministry of Commerce, we have an institution called the Zambia Development Agency, which normally issues what is called an investment license. You get your investment license, Madam Speaker, you are a foreigner, and then you go to any government entity that issues land. Madam Speaker, land can be given to you as a foreign national, provided you have an investment license. Unfortunately, Madam Speaker, some of the foreign investors that have been using that avenue to acquire land are not honoring the investment pledge, Madam Speaker. The investment pledge was that $250,000 will be invested through that investment license. And what has been happening, Madam Speaker, which is now the public outcry, is that foreign nationals will come under the pretext of an investor, Madam Speaker, acquire pieces of land in huge quantities without doing what they promised to do. And in the end, Madam Speaker, we've had foreign nationals who have ended up subdividing land, which is then sold to the very Zambians who in the first place we should have given that piece of land. So in terms of that first criteria, Madam Speaker, my submission is that if an investor comes into Zambia on the pretext that they will invest money, my submission is that if they fail to honor that investment pledge, that piece of land, Madam Speaker, should be surrendered back to the state and offered to the people of Zambia.
All right, well, there you have it. We're now joined by Mr. Kangombe. Good morning, and how are you?
Good morning, Dominic. Delighted to be here on Prime TV2.
Welcome to the Breakfast Show.
Thanks a lot.
You know, if I was an MC and this was a very big event, I would have introduced you differently. I would start in this manner. You know, distinguished guests, fellow citizens, ladies and gentlemen. Today is not just a mere celebration. We stand here to celebrate a legislative achievement.
If you're
Parako, so you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But congratulations on your motion being approved in Parliament.
Thanks a lot. You need to congratulate the people of Zambia, the people that told me to take that matter to Parliament. I think credit goes to the citizens. You know, when you talk to people, you are listening to their views. They are telling you, Christopher, there's this issue that you need to address. And then all you do as a member of Parliament is take it to Parliament. So you're not supposed to be thanking me. I think the congratulatory message should go to the citizens, the people that on various social media platforms that have been telling me, this is an issue you need to take to Parliament. We need to ask government to review the laws. And that is basically what I did yesterday.
Okay, that's very good.
Yeah.
So for someone watching us from home, what is the current law regarding foreigners, acquiring land in Zambia?
Well, you may be aware, maybe for you who's in the media space, that the laws of Zambia actually, Dominic, allow foreigners to own land in Zambia. But you see, there are circumstances under which that can happen, and I think there are about 10 provisions under the law. Zambia Development Agency, as I was debating yesterday, can give a foreign entity what is called an investment license, meaning allowing them to invest money into Zambia, which is called foreign direct investment. If you have an investment license from ZAMBIA, Ministry of Lands can give you land so that you can put your money into that piece of land. Circumstance number one. If you want to register a company in Zambia and you are a foreigner and you want to acquire land, 75% of shares, Dominic, should be owned by Zambian citizens and 25% by a foreigner. Meaning you go to Pakra, you go and incorporate a company, and then you own 75% as a Zambian citizen, and you partner with a foreigner who owns 25% shares in a company. Then you can register a company. Once you have a certificate of incorporation, Dominic, and for the benefit of those that are following this conversation, then you can go to Ministry of Lands. They'll give you land. But you see, these provisions, unfortunately, have conditions. And my concern yesterday was, if foreigners are allowed under the laws of Zambia, the President of the Republic of Zambia can give consent. You can go to the President. If the President wants to gift another President land, it's only the President who can sign through a consent. I'm also aware that traditional leaders in Zambia, their Royal Highnesses across different parts of Zambia, have been allowed under customary law to give out land to foreigners. They'll come through a registered cooperative. Again, this cooperative, Dominic, they must be co-ownership between a Zambian citizen and a foreigner. 25% foreign ownership, 75% in a cooperative, not in a company. So the shareholding is the same in a company and in a cooperative. Zambians should retain 75%. But unfortunately, these provisions in the law, they are not adhered to. Investors will come into Zambia, get an investment license, acquire land. Next thing you hear, Dominic, is you are buying land from a foreigner. Because the foreigner now hasn't honored their investment. They decide to start subdividing land. They have 1,000 hectares. What do? They break them down into 1 acre pieces of land, simply because they don't have the money they pledged that they are going to invest. So yes, we need to change how the law sits. We need to put measures in place that will prevent foreigners from acquiring these excessive pieces of land, which then result in them reselling back to Zambian citizens, when we can as well just allocate those pieces of land to Zambian citizens. Why are we inviting foreigners anyway?
Okay, so, Honorable.
Yes.
What really triggered this this motion? Is it just merely public opinion, or the public coming in, or probably are there some specific cases, or maybe there was some findings and there's a research that was made that made you come to this stand?
Well, what I'm learning, Dominic, is that for those of us who get the opportunity to be elected, when you are elected as a member of parliament, you may have your understanding of a problem, okay, which is fair enough. For some of us who've been rising through leadership from councillor, mayor, now MP. I've acquired quite a lot of information, a lot of knowledge interacting with people. So at this level where I am now, I can't just rely on my views. I then have to cast my net wide, and I try to listen. I try to pay more attention to what are the things that concern people. For instance, I have a platform where I interact with people on a weekly basis. We call it Ideas for Development. So these are WhatsApp platforms where we float a topic and people bring comments, people bring ideas. So I've been throwing different topics onto that platform. And then you have people telling you, okay, apart from mining, Christopher, we know you're passionate about mining. Honorable Kangombe, we know you're passionate about healthcare, NIMA and health insurance. But there's this issue about land, because at one point we were discussing land reforms, things we need to change about the administration of land. So this issue keeps coming up. Every time we bring up this topic in our platforms, the issue keeps coming up. If you go to Facebook, people are saying, oh, Christopher, you've discussed mining today, but also, please also talk about land. There are too many foreigners acquiring huge chunks of land from the rural part of Zambia. They claim they were going to invest so many millions of dollars, Dominic, but at the end of the day, they don't do it. So, Christopher, please go and bring this matter to Parliament. Now, you can't just go to Parliament. You now then go and research. You go and read the law. So I read what the Lands Act states. I read what the Zambia Development Agency Act, which has now been revised, reads. I read through different pieces of legislation. Then I got concerned as an MP. I said, if Parliament has enacted these laws, why is it that we are not paying attention to what the regulations state? Maybe the regulations are not clear enough. Maybe we need to revise the law. How is it possible that someone can come into Zambia, acquire 10,000 hectares of land on the premise that they'll invest money, then they don't do it, and then you have Zambians complaining? So you've asked an important question. Was there research done? I conducted the research based on this very genuine public concern coming to the people that we need to revise the law. We need to change how administratively land is allocated, especially to foreign nationals. So I thought, who else would be better placed than me to go through the regulations? So yeah, research can be an academic research, or it can be me going to the library at Parliament, reading different laws, consulting people in the land space, and then taking it to Parliament. So yeah, to agree with you, a bit of research was done without any focus on a specific company.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this review basically for all the land, or just targeting specifically customary land?
Well, the conversation is not on customary land only. Customary land is what their Royal Highnesses give out to different prospective investors. And for me, I think that if the law is going to be reviewed, you can't review a law on one part of land. You are basically looking at land in Zambia, because all land, even customary land, you can't develop customary land without converting it to state land. Okay, so if their Royal Highnesses give land to a company that wants to do mineral exploration and sell it to the people, you still need to have that land put on title. So it can only be Ministry of Lands to put land on title. So what am I trying to say? The review is a comprehensive review. The laws of Zambia will have to be revised. What are we going to revise? For instance, why should a company that has 30% Zambian ownership, 70% foreign ownership be given land? The laws of Zambia don't allow that. So there you don't even need to revise the law. There you need to enforce the law. Enforcement means if a company comes to Lusaka City Council asking for land, the council should ask for who are the beneficial owners of that company. You know, a beneficial owner are the people that will draw benefits from owning that company. So why should a company with 50% shares owned by a foreigner, 50% by a Zambian be given land? The law doesn't allow. There it's enforcement. But for me, what I'm proposing is simple and straightforward. You give a foreign company land to do investment, they don't honor that investment, that land should be surrendered back to the state. Number two, if it were up to me, Dominic, if it were up to me, crazy suggestion, I would actually freeze land allocation to foreigners right now. Just freeze. Say, we need to put our house in order. If into if let's try and do things correctly. Let's first put measures in place. Let's have coordination. Then we come and announce that, okay, now we have systems in place. Now foreigners, if they're going to want to come and invest in Zambia, here are the new terms. So if it were up to me, Dominic, I would, if I was Minister of Lands, I would go to the President and I would say, Your Excellency, all land is held under your name on behalf of the people of Zambia. Can we stop allocating land to foreigners? Let's put a freeze. Let's first do the audit. Let's normalize things. Let's put systems in place. Let's bring the traditional leaders. Let's bring the councils. Let's bring Ministry of Lands. Let's bring Land Alliance and all these other institutions to try and put things in order. Then we can go back to saying, okay, we need land for foreign direct investment. How much land do we give out? Because we are going to run out of land, Dominic. The moment we run out of land, you and I will start lining up to buy land from foreigners. And that, for me, is what we are trying to avoid.
Okay. There's a number of people who are looking at this from a different perspective, and they're looking at it from a different lens.
Okay.
And they're saying that this is negative to our investors, and it's making them fear.
Prevent foreign direct investment. I want to be very clear. But also, I'm not going to apologize, okay? Because the problem we've seen in Zambia and many other parts of our country is that doing the right thing, sometimes you are told, no, what you're doing is anti-investment. Mm-hmm. I think that the conversation is around the gaps that we've identified. Dominic, and for the benefit of those that are watching, if the current laws are being manipulated, if a foreigner is able to come into Zambia, acquire land, acquire title, and then start speculating, start reselling land, I'll be a very irresponsible member of parliament to sit idle, to watch, to say, no, if I raised this issue in parliament, we're going to chase away investors. No, genuine investors are welcome. The Zambia Development Agency needs to do its due diligence. Why issue investment licenses to people who are not going to utilize the land for the intended purpose? Why should Ministry of Lands, local authorities give land to companies that are registered in Zambia, where 75% of shares are not owned by a Zambian? Because that's what the law says. So my role as a member of parliament, I'll be responsible to come here and start mind. Mm-hmm. I'm in my right state right now, and I want to make this appeal to government. If it were up to me, we should freeze the allocation of land to foreigners. We first put our house in order. Our house is not in order. The laws that are there are very weak. The administrative frameworks are very weak. As I sit today talking to you, Dominic, right now, there are foreigners right now who are registering a company at Pakra. And as they register their company at Pakra, they will go to Ministry of Lands, they will go to local authorities, and they will apply for land, okay? And they'll be given land. And that is why I'm seated here. My appeal to government is that apart from what we did yesterday, where we took the conversation to Parliament, if that conversation was not in Parliament, Dominic, I would not be seated here today. We need to make this a public conversation so that we find a way to put our house in order. We will lose so many hectares of land, you and I want to repeat. And for those that are watching, I don't want to be part of a parliament which in future our children will start saying, they knew this problem was there, but they didn't rectify it.
Now that the motion has been approved,
yeah,
what next?
So yesterday, so let me maybe explain the role of a motion. Mm-hmm. So when you take a motion to Parliament, you are asking government to do something. Mm-hmm. Okay? So if MPs vote yes, which they did unanimously, everyone said, we've argued with Christopher about other motions. Christopher wanted students from private universities to also acquire student loans. We didn't agree with him. This one we are agreeing. Okay? So yesterday there was a unanimous vote. Everyone said, this is what people have been asking us to do. Review the laws. So the vote yes now means within a period of 6 months, Dominic, government must implement. That is what a motion means. Meaning now there will be a committee of Parliament which is a committee on government assurances, meaning things which government assured the public on the floor of the House. So within 6 months, I know Parliament will be dissolved in month of May, which is in the next 2 months. So by the 60th month, the next parliament should ask government, you made a commitment in the month of March that you are going to review the laws, okay? Can you show us the draft bill which amends the laws? Can you show us the draft legal frameworks which amend the administrative procedures for foreigners to acquire land? So in short, what next? Government now has to implement the revision of the law. So whether there's change of government or not, the revision has to take place because it is a government assurance.
So will there be any public consultations that are going to be made?
Well, according to the Minister of Lands, they are already undertaking some of these steps. But you see, there was no public commitment on the floor of the House. Now that there's a public commitment from government, it's a government assurance. Now, we will do this. What now needs to happen is that the media, civil society, stakeholders must now bring up this conversation once in a while, every 2-3 weeks. How far have we gone with revising the law? What are we changing in the law? And those are the public consultations, because now we're not just going to tell their Royal Highnesses that we've made a decision. We now need to engage the House of Chiefs, which is a platform for the traditional leaders. We need to engage mining companies who bring these, who come through the name of mining investors. We need to ask those that are in the agriculture space who get 10,000 hectares of land. They don't even utilize the 10,000. So we need to now talk to different partners, different stakeholders, so that they understand that what Christopher Kangombe and what was resolved in Parliament was basically meant to put our house in order. And I want to repeat, Dominic, I will not apologize, because others, like you put it, others won't agree with what I proposed. Others were saying, but you're going to chase foreign direct investment. We need those millions of dollars. Yes, we need those millions of dollars, provided the people bringing those funds are genuine, provided they don't come to speculate over land, because our land is our sovereignty anyway.
Would you believe that the previous governments, would you believe and say that they have failed to safeguard our land?
Well, we have to take what I may call collective responsibility, because when you say previous governments, the current government has been in office for 4 years. So they are part of government. Okay, so let's run back to 1964. Okay, 1964 to where we are now. We are now exceeding, we're over 50 years of independence. Okay, collectively we must ask ourselves, each generation of leaders comes and they go. Christopher Kangombe will not be Member of Parliament forever. Dominic won't be here interviewing people forever. There will be others that will come. The question is, collectively, what have we not done correctly? I think collectively we've not been able to hold this conversation through these public platforms that have decided to raise the matter through. Parliament has never interrogated why foreigners acquire so many huge pieces of land. I'm taking the matter to Parliament. The matter has been debated. It means that collectively, from the days of UNIP to the days of MMD, PF, now UPND, collectively we need to resolve this problem, because collectively we've not resolved the problem. And that is why some of us will not keep quiet about it. That is why some of us, I don't want you to come and make me part of the statistics, to come and say, but Christopher Kangombe, at that time, obviously, I'll be aspiring as president. I don't want you to come and say, Christopher, you want to be president of Zambia. When you were in Parliament, how did you allow this problem to escalate? So you've asked an important question. Have past governments not resolved this problem? I think collectively, from independence to where we are today, all the governments that we've had, yes, laws have been revised. Here, the Lands Act has been revised. The procedures for acquiring lands have been attached here and there, but we've never dealt with the bigger issue. The bigger issue is, here is Zambia with a fixed amount of land. God has stopped manufacturing land. Zambia will not go into Congo and ask for an extra 1 million hectares. Our land is fixed. What do we do if we are going to partner with foreigners? There must be regulations that are put in place to avoid having foreigners who come into Zambia simply to acquire land so that they can start reselling. That, for me, I will not allow.
So, Honorable,
yes,
would you support the banning of foreign nationals owning land?
Let's put a freeze until we are ready. until we are ready to screen which foreigner should genuinely own land. Because the laws, like I said, commercial banks, a commercial bank which is not owned by a Zambian can apply for land in Zambia, provided that bank is registered under the Banking and Financial Services Act. So the law allows commercial banks. So there are exceptional cases where you know these will genuinely come and do something. Then you ask yourself, what are we trying to achieve? We want to industrialize. Okay, what will be the partnership model? Will it be a joint venture? So for me, I want us to change the model. The model should be, if we are going to give land to a foreign entity, it should be based on a very basic understanding that the Zambian interests are well placed. So if you ask me again, Christopher, what is your submission? I make no apology. If it were up to me, I would ask that we put a stop to land allocation to foreigners until we reach a stage where we know that where we think that we need to partner, then we'll allow our colleagues to come in. But where we're just going to offload land, 10,000 hectares, in the name of we want foreign investors, let us screen the type of investment we're bringing into this country.
Okay, Mr. Kangombe, thank you so much. We appreciate your time, and we'll also continue engaging with you on different issues, national issues, of course.
Dominic, it's a pleasure to having called upon me to come and share these views. I want to end by stating that my motion in Parliament yesterday was on behalf of the people of Zambia. It was citizens who told me, please take this conversation to Parliament. And I think that is what I did yesterday. So I want to thank the citizens that always pick up the phone, always send me messages. There's this next issue you need to bring to Parliament. And I know before we dissolve Parliament, there will be other matters that obviously will concern the public. Thank you to Prime TV for inviting me.
Thank you. On a lighter note,
yes,
we have Romeo Kangombe. Are you related?
We might be related. We are one group of citizens.
Okay.
I don't know how we were divided into different parts of Zambia. So geographically, we are told this one, his parents were raised in this place. But if you understand our history as a continent, we are basically people coming from different places, but we are all one citizen. So Romeo might be my relative. Maybe.
You have answered very diplomatically.
Maybe he might be.
I've just asked a simple question. Is he your brother? Yes or no?
Because brother has a context. Brother means you share parents. Okay, so we don't share parents.
Okay.
But I know, like I said, when we had the Luba Lunda migrations, we had people coming from this part of the continent. Others went into Northwestern Province, others went into Western, others went into Northern, so our parents would know better.
No, it's been a pleasure.
Thanks a lot, Dominic.
Dear viewers, you're watching us on Topsy Channel 110 and we're streaming live on our Facebook page. That is PTV2 Zambia. You have been watching the Breakfast Sunrise show, and we're discussing something quite very important, the motion that was passed in Parliament over the land acquisition for foreign nationals. But stay tuned. We still have a jam-packed breakfast show. We'll be back. Don't go away.
Early in the morning, fire on the stove, love in a pie, that's the life we know. From the fields to the table, every bite it shows. Primarily me, the taste of home. Primarily me, the taste of home. Primarily me, the taste of home. Mama in the kitchen, we never eat alone. Primarily meal, the taste of home.
Primarily meal, pure, proudly Zambian, the taste of home.
Before 2022, millions of Zambian children stayed home, not because they didn't want to learn, but because school was unaffordable for many families. Today, things are much better. No more tuition fees, no more PTA fees, and no more examination fees. More than 2.5 million children are back in class across the country, from villages to towns, from the cities to the districts and provinces. Schools are feeding our children and classrooms are full again. And with the enhanced Constituency Development Fund, communities around Zambia are transforming education. More classrooms are being built, more desks are being made, more teachers are being hired. Because Bali cares. He has delivered this for all children across Zambia. Because free education is not just a policy, it is a promise to every Zambian child, a promise that poverty will not decide their future. A promise delivered.
What do we stand for? We stand for possibility, for the belief that every tomorrow begins with a choice made today. We stand for growth, for curiosity that pushes boundaries, for knowledge that prepares you not just to adapt, but to lead. We stand for community, for minds that don't just think, but connect, for hands that don't just build, but uplift. We stand for experiences that shape you, for friendships that anchor you, for courage that carries you beyond this place. Here you become more than a student. You become a maker of solutions, a believer in dreams, a contributor to something greater than yourself. This is where purpose meets possibility. This is where futures are built. Charles Brook Bassar University, where you stand for what matters.
Right, so let's get to see what's making headlines in our sports this morning. The Munali Suns are the Midlands Basketball Association champions, and also in other news, the ABSA Cup champions will receive 1.1 million, an increase from 1 million kwacha won by Zesco United last year. We'll be getting into details of that story, and also we'll be looking at the highlights of the MTN Super League. On the other side, we will also be having a look at what's happening in terms of head coach Mwenya Chipepo and first assistant coach Christopher Katongo, who have been placed on administrative leave with full pay and benefits. We do have JC in the studio with us just to, make us understand, some of these things that are happening in the world of sports. Good morning, Jeremiah. It's great to have you in our studios today.
Thank you very much, and it's always a pleasure to be here and talk about sports. It's amazing, and especially this month of a match that we look at women's plight and, just support women.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that it's a woman that is anchoring this program for me, or this segment. It's amazing. You look colorful.
Thank you so much. Now let's get into details and start with what's happening in terms of basketball. We do know that the Munali Suns are the Midlands Basketball Association champions, now having won the championship title 3 times in their history.
Yes, so what happens is that we've got some of the basketball teams that is in Midlands, and then we've got Copper Belt. And briefly, we've got some of them in the Copper Belt, Eastern Province as well, Central Province, just briefly. And some of those are from Kawe. I think they do come from Kawe into Midlands Basketball Association. So these are the leagues. And obviously what happens is that the winner and the first and second, they'll go to the Copper Belt. So they've been winning, Munali Suns, and they've been outstanding. This is a team that has been really fantastic. And for those that have followed basketball, for the longest period of time, it was in the Midlands. It used to be Matero Magic and Unza Pacers that dominated for the longest period of time. And this was a very contentious issue. When these two play, even fans would actually show up. The team that was coming from the University of Zambia, Unza Pacers, would come with a lot of fans, a lot of people that really loved the team. And the Matero Magic will come through as well with a lot of people from Matero and coming through to support this particular team. So these two teams were dominating, and probably now we've got the likes of Green Buffaloes coming up. We've got different teams, but Munali Suns 2002-2003 championship, they managed to win that, and of course 2023-24 season, so they went back-to-back winning the Midlands Basketball Association, and of course this time around they've won it. And it's amazing to see Munali Suns doing this. It's amazing to see one of those that have really been pushing. Conrad Musonda has been really in basketball for the longest period. He was the president at one point of the ZBF, and he still pushes this team. He's got another tournament that is named after the team Munali. Munali Suns, of course, they're coming from Munali, and it's amazing to see that they've continued doing this, and they're working very hard, winning this championship. So what is happening now is that if you really look at the table as it stands now, these are the teams. If you can actually see, that is Division 1, but of course, if you really look at what is happening now is that this table here is portraying how the standings are looking like. Munali Suns being the champions, and then we've got Matero Magic coming number 2, and the Tamanga boys have really been doing fine. So they're getting into the national championships. As you can see, the top 4 will actually qualify into the the top 4 qualify into the national championship. That will include so many other teams from different towns, different provinces like Copper Belt. So what happens in most cases is that number 3 and 4 will travel to the Copper Belt to go and play in the Copper Belt, and then number 3 and 4 from the Copper Belt will travel to Lusaka to come and play against the top 2. The top 4, the number 3 and 2 will go on. Number 3 and 4 will go and play the number 1 and 2 in the Copper Belt. So that is how it's done, and probably the winners will come back to Lusaka. That's where the national championship is going to be, and probably the winners they'll get into it, including the females as well. It's going to be the same things, and for the first time since inception, they're doing this third season. The basket queens that were born at that particular time. I think they were born queens. They had to break some of the records coming into basketball, winning without losing any game in the first week of inception. And this is a team that has happened with a coach that has been fantastic in Cuthbert Tembo, has been really fantastic as well. So making sure that he coached Unza Pacers and Unza Hanis. And when you hear so many of those teams, in fact, you can't talk about basketball without talking about Unza Pacers. You can't talk about basketball without talking about Unza Hanis. Those are the teams that really dominated basketball. OCC Looters as well, where the likes of Danny Pedo used to play from, and we did have so many other teams that participated in this. So it's amazing to see some of these teams that have qualified, and now the thing that every team looks forward to is getting into the national championship. If you are the champion in the national championship, who represent Zambia in the Africa Basketball League qualifiers, and then into the basketball Elite 16, you go to South Africa, you go and play in the Elite 16, you move forward, you meet the creme de la creme of basketball in Africa, or basketball teams in Africa, and that's where you are scouted to be, some of them have gone into the NBA, some of them into big leagues that they've gone to because of these games that happen. So every other team is looking forward to getting into the national championship, winning it, and participating in the BAO, or like they call it, basketball league qualifier, Africa qualifier. It's a big thing that happens. Every other team wants to do that. And Mlani Science are looking forward to that. So far, we've only had Unza Pacers qualifying and getting into it. So we've got Matero Magic who qualified last season, and of course they defended us. They did well, gone through the qualifiers, went into the Elite 16 where they lost all the games. They lost some games, but they won at least one game, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But they did well, really, from the previous one, and they are looking forward to getting back into Basketball Africa. So you can win. And what used to happen with Matero Magic and when these two teams dominated basketball, Matero Magic and Unza Pacers, one will win the Midlands Basketball Association, the other one will win the national championship. They used to exchange, and this the dominance that happened for the longest period of time. So this is what happens, and this is what is happening in as far as basketball is concerned. So the ladies are still playing, so let's see how things are just going to be.
All right, so now let's move on and maybe look at what's happening in terms of the ABSA Cup Championship.
Before we get to ABSA, there's netball. Yeah, so the netball president, I think, talked about a number of issues pertaining, because Netball Zambia is the custodian of netball in Zambia. So everything that is happening pertaining to netball, you have to seek permission from them, like the way it happens in athletics. So every marathon that you've seen in our country, they seek permission from ZA. ZA has to give them that permission because they are the custodian of athletics in our country. So the same way it is with netball, every other person that is coming up with a competition, you have to go through the Netball Association. You have to speak to them. You have to seek permission. They have to give you this permission so that they recognize whatever happens in netball. So it's like a lot of people have been going behind their backs and coming up with tournaments without their knowledge, and wanting to make money from these particular tournaments without the knowledge of the Netball Association. And this is the reason why the president had to speak about this, and had to warn, especially those that are affiliated to netball. In all the provinces, we've got the teams, the provincial teams, the provincial management that really has to allow. You have to go through for you to do all these things. So it was a warning by the president, of course, that they should be following the criteria, and they have to do everything that they have to do. So she stressed the importance of adhering to proper channels. That's what their constitution entails.
Okay. We get to ABSA.
We get to futsal. There's so much that is happening as far as futsal is concerned. You remember that they're getting into week 14, and so many games that are coming up. And Lusaka Athletics, Lusaka Automotive are still topping the table with 37 points, and we've got 32 for Moody Stars. It's amazing to see all these games, and when I went to watch these games, it's amazing to see how players are really putting up themselves and making sure that they push for themselves to get into the national team. As you all know, that next month the team will be traveling to Morocco to go and play in the Africa Cup of Nations, which is a huge thing, and everybody else is looking forward to that. And probably looking back, obviously, the last Africa Cup of Nations, or last edition of the Africa Cup of Nations, the performance was really bad. They did well, but they lost, and this is the game that we remember. We lost against Morocco 13-0. So we need to make amends and close up the gaps in terms of how other big teams are performing. Teams like Angola, Mozambique, Egypt, Morocco are miles apart from all the African teams in as far as futsal is concerned. They've done really well. And this is a team that competes at global level. They're looking at the teams like Brazil, who's been outstanding in terms of futsal. They compete with Portugal, compete with Argentina, the big guns of futsal in the world. So Morocco is at a different world. But I think with what is happening and what has been happening in Zambia, thanks to Andrea Cristoforetti and Tarak Mehta, who's been outstanding in terms of pushing futsal in our country and making sure that we get back on the roadmap. And qualifying for the third time to the Africa Cup of Nations is amazing, and qualifying back to back to the Africa Cup of Nations is very important. And of course, it is amazing to see some of these young players who are really going to push and make sure that they continue doing what they're supposed to do. So all the best to all the teams that will be playing. We've got fixtures that will happen tomorrow. As you can see, some of those round 14 fixtures. Tomorrow we have games, Friday we have games, and Saturday we have games, and look out for those games. We now get to ABSA. So we've got, ABSA has been around, or they've been sponsoring. ABSA Bank has been sponsoring football for the past 19 years. And it's amazing to see that they've been doing all these things. It's amazing to see that this is a bank that has been part of football for 19 years. That is almost 2 decades supporting football. And the money has been increasing every now and then, because it started in 2007. The money that they got, or the winner the money that they received, is not as much as we are getting. You can imagine last year they have added another 100,000 kwacha. It's a lot of money. And as far as football is concerned, it makes a difference. If you win 1.1 million kwacha playing 4 games, for those teams that are starting at the last 16, but for those that are starting from the playoffs or preliminaries for teams that are coming from Provincial Division 1, they're starting from there. So obviously these will play at least 5 games for you to win the ABSA Cup. It's amazing to see all these things are happening. And for me, everything that has been happening is recommended to see that they've really been pushing, giving us so much money, putting in a lot of money and helping a lot of teams. And away from this, away from the prize money and away from all these things that the teams will be getting, apart from the individual prizes that every player will be getting, or some of the players that are deserving will be getting, they've got literacy, financial literacy that happens in football. And you qualify to ABSA, you should know that most of our athletes, sometimes they misuse their money. So they teach them for free. If you are going to find some consultant or somebody that is going to teach you about financial literacy, you're going to pay a lot of money. But this time around, ABSA just give it for free. And they tell them how important it is for you to save. Whatever little that you are getting, you have to save, so that when you hang up your boots, you won't be destitute, you won't be troubling people. At least you have somewhere to fall back on, and something to do as well, so that at least you're not going to get into depression. So many of those players have gotten into depression, and some of us, we've been running away from these footballers because we feel that they're going to ask for money, or because they are not doing very well. Some of them have been running away from them, but I think this is very, very important and very recommendable that ABSA has been sponsoring football for 19 years in our country. Very recommended. And for Football Association of Zambia to think that one of the teams that the winner of ABSA will represent Zambia in continental football is amazing. For me, no debate about it. No debate about it. I know so many people, so many pundits out there. They've been really coming up so many debates that have been really pushing forward and say, you know what, if you've got a team that is coming from Provincial Division 1 like Tete FC to come and represent Zambia in continental football is undoing. But if they're going to win, meaning they're going to beat the cream de la cream of teams, they're going to beat the defending champions Zesco United, they will beat Power Dynamos, who are the league leaders, and of course the Red Arrows, who are the league leaders. the MTN Fast Super League defending champions Power Dynamos. They will beat the big teams. So if they lose to a small team, then this small team is deserving. Of course, they have to get through and sponsor. And one thing that we have to know is that, first of all, this is another big thing that ABSA is continental football. It's another thing that is amazing. And we have to recommend ABSA, we have to recommend them because they are giving back profits to the community. And for me, I'm not calling it corporate responsibility or whatever, but I think for me, I'm calling it a partnership because they've been partnering with football for the longest period. They've put in a lot of money. Corporate responsibility is not the name that I can actually call this. It's a very big thing. ABSA is recommended. They've recommended for continuing supporting football, for being part of football for 19 years, for being part of the memories and the memorable memories that have been around in as far as football is concerned. So we appreciate them, we applaud them, and big up to them. Let them continue, and especially that they've even added some of the teams from different provinces. And this debate of having teams that you feel that some of the players are not really added into the national team. We've got teams that are coming from all the provinces in our country. Let them showcase their talents. Let them put their provinces on the map and see how they are going to defend it. So big up to ABSA. Congratulations to the teams that qualified, and congratulations to the teams that have gotten into it and that are going to play in this and that are going to get into it. We'll start with the preliminaries on the 20th and 21st March. The preliminaries will be done, and then the 5 teams will qualify into the last 16, and they'll pair them. Of course, the pairing is already done. The draws were done. The trophy is so beautiful, so amazing. The monies is beautiful. I know that there are a lot of people that are saying the disparity between the winner, who are getting 1.1 million kwacha, and the second, the runners-up, who are getting 450 kwacha, 450,000 kwacha. For me, it's excellence about the team that is winning. So you have to aim to win to make more money. And there's a player of the match, player of the tournament, best goalkeeper. The top scorer of the tournament, they also get monies, 25,000 kwacha, 5,000 kwacha, 15 pin. You just play 90 minutes, you get a 5,000 kwacha if you are playing very well. After the preliminaries into the quarterfinals, you get at least 15 pin. Rhoda, you just play 90 minutes, you get a 15 pin. You are home and dry. So those are some of the things that ABSA is doing. From Backless to ABSA, they've been together with us, and we hope that they will continue doing this.
All right, so we move on to the MTN Super League, and of course we do know that Zesco United and Power Dynamos play their games in hand on Thursday.
Yes, they do have some games, and some of the beautiful games, and I'm hoping that Zesco hasn't really been playing very well. And at one point we just saw on Facebook, I think they just was it on Tuesday, we just saw the talking points that came from the management talking about Zesco United and the technical bench for losing and all that, the warning that is coming. So Zesco should win against Mutondo Stars. And of course, they haven't qualified to ABSA. So for them to qualify, they have to beat Mutondo Stars. If they beat Mutondo Stars, they qualify. If they lose, then FC Muza will qualify to ABSA. So this is what is happening. And they're defending champions, so they have to win this particular game against Mutondo Stars. It's a beautiful game for Zesco United. And then we have Power Dynamos against Green Buffaloes. Power Dynamos, very fantastic. They've been really great. They've been outstanding. They're chasing the top spot. They want to defend the title. They want to go back to continental football. Because look, you are a continental football, first of all, in Ndeke, Kwere Ndeke is amazing for players, and then winning money. Because there's also money. So you have to win money to give back to the team and to proud back to the team. And of course, it's going to be better for them to compete. So they've tested this and they want to continue. I've heard so many players saying, Ndeke kaputu kapu. So meaning they have to win the league, qualify back to continental football, go and represent Zambia, or win the ABSA and qualify us back to continental football, Power Dynamos, Zawa Yellow. So they will be playing their games on Thursday, and they've got other games on Sunday. So we'll be hoping to see how things are just going to be. And so many things that are happening. First of all, the National Division 1 top scorer. And this is, I really feel bad to see that they've played all these games that they've played, 25 games, and we only have a top scorer scoring 11 goals. It's very sad. I should have seen someone at least scoring 20 goals or so. at this particular moment. But I think goals are not coming. I think the coaches should work very hard to make sure that we get back into the times of Babo Matitoli, the times of Kelvin Mutale, the times of that these particular players used to score a lot of goals in one season. But this time around, we're just getting to 11 goals, and we only hope that they will continue scoring. That is National Division 1. And in Premier League, we only have 10 goals that has been scored so far. Albert Kangwanda scoring his goal as well, and 3 goals better than some Moses Shuma. I think this is another thing. This is a worry for coaches. They should work hard and make sure that at least they do better in terms of how they're doing this. And finally, you talked about the coach being taken to administrative leave, and this is one thing that I'll never understand in Zambian football. You know, you go in most cases when somebody goes on leave, they get back. But in Zambian football, when you are sent on administrative leave, you are not coming back. You are sacked. You are fired. But the good part is these guys will continue getting their allowances. They will continue getting their salaries. The 2 coaches that you can actually see, Coach Chipepo, Mwenya Chipepo, and Christopher Katongo, the assistant, they've gone, but they're still investigating whatever it is that they're investigating, and we'll hear in due course whether they're going to get back as coaches for Nkana or they will be sacked just from administrative leave.
All right. I guess that wraps it up for today's edition of The Breakfast Show. Thank you so much for that information. And of course, there's so much to look out for in terms of sport. And in case you missed out on anything, Jeremiah did highlight some of the games that took place and whatever needs to be known off the pitch or in the pitch in terms of football. All right, so thank you so much for watching today's edition of the Sunrise Breakfast Show. This is where we wrap it up. We did have quite an amazing show. We had a look at some of the stories making headlines in our news across the country. And of course, we did set the tone for the conversations that truly matter. We also did have PMC sit down with Mathias Musumali, following remarks that he made during a podcast that sparked national debate after portraying students as sexual objects. And also the discussion did seek clarity, accountability, and understanding because conversations like that, demand a lot of responsibility. Well, we were also joined by Honorable Christopher Kangombe just to highlight a few things concerning the issue of land, giving land to foreigners and, what he said in Parliament in regards to that. And Dominic did have a great conversation with him. But those are the things that we did have lined up for you on our breakfast show today. But we do end our Sunrise Breakfast Show on that note, and I hope that you have an amazing day, with these conversations that we did start up. I hope that you reflect on some of the things that we did talk about, and for the rest of the entire day, we'll be updating you with some of our news stories. But from me, your host, Rhoda Mlinga, and the rest of the entire production team, it is goodbye and enjoy the rest of your Wednesday.